He was my whole world. They took everything from me. Now I will make them pay. Let the games begin.
The following story is a work of fiction created for entertainment purposes. Any resemblance to actual persons or events is purely coincidental. Have you ever watched someone destroy your life, smile while doing it, and have everyone call them the victim? People always say revenge belongs to angry people. They're wrong. The most dangerous revenge comes from someone who has already accepted losing everything. Because once you have nothing left to lose, you become impossible to defeat. My name is Roselyn Barter. 3 years ago, I had a husband, a beautiful home, a successful company, and a sister I trusted more than anyone else. Today, I have none of them, but neither do they. This isn't a story about forgiveness. This is the story of how I became the ghost that haunted every decision they ever made. Welcome to the School of Revenge. Growing up, everyone loved my younger sister, Sasha. Mom had her when she thought she was done having kids. I was 10 years older than she was. I was practically like a second mother to her. She was beautiful, funny, charming, the kind of girl who could walk into a room and somehow become everyone's favorite person within minutes. I was different, quiet, studious, hardworking. People called me boring. They called Sasha unforgettable. I didn't mind, because I believed family meant celebrating each other's strengths. When our parents died in an accident, as devastating as it was, I had to step up to all the responsibility. I was 28. Sasha was just 18. I paid her way through college, helped her rent her first apartment, even gave her a job in my marketing company when she couldn't find work. She cried. She hugged me. She called me the best sister in the world. Looking back, those tears were probably practice. Then there was Daniel, my husband of 8 years. Everyone said we were the perfect couple. Successful business owners, beautiful house, weekend vacations, date nights every Friday. But perfection is usually just good marketing. Daniel had become distant, phone always locked, late-night meetings, business trips that somehow produced very little business. Whenever I asked, he'd kiss my forehead. "You're imagining things." So I believed him. Because trust doesn't disappear overnight. It dies one excuse at a time. Then Sasha started visiting more often. She said she felt lonely. Daniel suggested she stay in our guest room whenever work ran late. I thought he was being kind. I thanked him for looking after my sister. Sometimes, the knife enters your back because you opened the door for it. On one rainy Tuesday, I forgot an important contract at home. I drove back. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Then, laughter. Coming from upstairs. I smiled. Maybe Sasha was watching television. Maybe Daniel had come home early. I climbed the stairs. Our bedroom door wasn't completely closed. Inside, I saw enough. A kiss. His hand around her waist. Her laughter. The same laugh she used whenever she thanked me for helping her. My entire world ended without either of them noticing I was standing there. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I quietly walked back downstairs, got into my car, and drove away. Sometimes silence is louder than confrontation. That night, neither of them knew. I had seen everything. The next morning, Daniel acted normal. Sasha hugged me before leaving for work. "Love you, sis." I smiled. "I love you too." For the first time in my life, I lied better than she did. Over the next few weeks, I started paying attention. Secret phone calls, deleted messages, hidden bank transfers, meetings that didn't exist. Then, I discovered something far worse than an affair. They weren't just stealing my marriage, they were stealing my company. Documents, client lists, financial records. Someone had been moving money, and every digital signature carried my name. Someone wasn't planning to leave me. Someone was planning to destroy me. 3 months later, the police knocked on my office door. "Roselyn Barter? Yes, you're under investigation for corporate fraud." I looked across the office. Daniel lowered his head, pretending to be shocked. Sasha started crying, pretending to support me. Everyone believed them. No one believed me. As they placed the handcuffs around my wrists, I looked directly at my sister. She smiled. A tiny smile. Barely noticeable, but I saw it. In that moment, I realized something. She thought she had won. She had no idea. She had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Because revenge isn't served when you're angry. It's served when everyone has forgotten what they did to you. Welcome to the school of revenge. When they placed me in the back of that police car, I looked through the window. Daniel never looked at me. Sasha was crying into a handkerchief. Anyone watching would have thought she had just lost her sister. Only I knew. She had just stolen my life. Or so she believed. The newspapers called me. The CEO who stole millions. Clients abandoned me. Employees testified against me. Friends disappeared. My lawyer whispered 5 words that echoed in my head. The evidence is overwhelming. It wasn't. It was manufactured. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Every document pointed at me. Every financial transfer carried my digital signature. Daniel sat in court pretending to support me. Sasha cried every single day. The jury admired her. I almost admired her performance myself. When the verdict came, guilty. 5 years. Corporate fraud. Asset seizure. My house. Gone. My company. Gone. My bank accounts. Frozen. As I walked into prison, I stopped being Roselyn Barter. I became prisoner 488173. Everyone assumed my story was over. It had only just begun. Prison teaches you something quickly. Power doesn't disappear. It simply changes hands. On my 3rd day, an older woman sat across from me in the cafeteria. Silver hair, calm eyes. Everyone moved out of her way. "You're Roselyn." I nodded. "I watched your trial." "I didn't do it." She smiled. "I know." That surprised me. "How?" She leaned forward. "Because guilty people panic. You've been observing." "My name is Margaret. I've spent 22 years studying people." "What are you in for?" She laughed. "Making powerful men underestimate me." Over the next year, Margaret became my teacher. Not in revenge, in patience. She taught me that angry people make mistakes. Patient people make history. "The best revenge," she said, "is making your enemies destroy themselves while believing they're winning." Every night, she made me write. Names, dates, habits, weaknesses, patterns. She called it building a map. One afternoon, a prison guard handed me an envelope. No return address. Inside, only one photograph. Daniel, Sasha, standing in front of my house. My house, the one they had stolen. Written on the back, "They're engaged." I stared at the picture. Then, I smiled. Margaret noticed. "Aren't you angry?" "No." "Why?" "Because they finally made their first mistake." She nodded. "They've become comfortable. And comfortable people stop looking behind them." That night, for the first time, I slept peacefully. 3 years into my sentence, a volunteer visited the prison library every Thursday. His name was Thomas Reed, retired forensic accountant. He taught financial literacy. While everyone else learned budgeting, I asked questions about digital signatures, hidden accounts, offshore transfers. He looked at me strangely. "You understand finance better than most professionals. I used to own a company." By the end of the year, he quietly said something that changed everything. "If someone framed you, there will always be one mistake. Fraud leaves fingerprints." That sentence became my obsession. Every evening, I replayed every document from memory, every signature, every email, every transfer, looking, waiting, for one tiny crack. Then one night, I found it. One transaction, one impossible timestamp. Daniel had signed a document while he was supposedly on an international flight. He couldn't have been in 2 places at once. It was the first thread, and I intended to pull until their entire world unraveled. 2 years later, the prison gates opened. I walked out carrying only one small box. No house, no money, no family, no reputation, just a notebook. Inside were 5 years of observations, 5 years of planning, 5 years of patience. Across town, Daniel and Sasha were celebrating their wedding anniversary. Their company had become one of the fastest-growing businesses in the city. They toasted to their future. Neither of them noticed. A woman standing across the street, watching, smiling. Because I wasn't there to get revenge. I was there To begin the lesson. The final lesson. People think revenge is about making someone suffer. It isn't. Real revenge is giving people exactly what they wanted, then letting it destroy them. For 5 years, Daniel and Sasha celebrated. They lived in my home, ran my company, spent my money. He built their empire on my grave. What they didn't know was that every empire built on lies eventually collapses, and I was about to pull the first brick. I never contacted them, not once. Instead, I contacted someone else, Thomas, the forensic accountant. Together, we reopened every financial record from the old company. Hundreds of transactions, thousands of emails, months of hidden transfers, and there it was, the impossible timestamp. Daniel had authorized a transfer, while his passport showed he was 6,000 miles away. One mistake, one lie, one crack in a perfect crime. Thomas smiled. This isn't enough to destroy them. He paused. But it's enough to make someone start asking questions. Within days, an anonymous package arrived at the Financial Crimes Unit. No fingerprints, no return address, only evidence. At first, nothing happened. Then, their company's biggest investor withdrew. An audit began. Bank accounts were frozen. Clients canceled contracts. Employees panicked. The media caught the story. Successful CEO under investigation. Daniel insisted everything would be fine. Sasha believed him. Until investigators searched their office, every hidden account, every fake invoice, every forged signature came back to them. For the first time, they were the ones sitting in an interrogation room. They had no idea who was behind the leak. Pressure changes people. Daniel blamed Sasha. Sasha blamed Daniel. The same two people who once stood together against me now couldn't stand to look at each other. They had no idea I was behind it all. Their lawyer had only one strategy. If one of you cooperates, the other takes the fall. That night, Sasha secretly met investigators. The next morning, Daniel did exactly the same. Neither knew the other had already betrayed them. I laughed, not because they were suffering, because they had finally become exactly like the people they truly were. 6 months later, the courthouse was full. Reporters everywhere. Daniel accepted a plea deal. Sasha was convicted of conspiracy and fraud. As she was led away, she looked into the crowd. Our eyes met. For a moment, she froze. Roselyn? I smiled. Not with hatred, not with anger, with peace. She whispered, "You did this." I quietly answered, "No, you did." She lowered her head. For the first time in her life, she had no one left to manipulate. My eyes also caught Daniel's eyes. It seemed like he had seen a ghost. I stood up quietly and left the courtroom as they led both of them away. 2 years later, I stood in front of a small office. Not the mansion I once owned, not the luxury life I once had. Something better. A new beginning. People often ask if revenge made me happy. No, justice did. Because revenge alone leaves you empty. Justice allows you to move forward. Daniel lost everything. His freedom, his career, his reputation. Sasha lost the one thing she valued most. Control. As for me, I didn't rebuild the old company. I built a new life. A stronger one. One no one could ever steal again. If there's one lesson this story teaches, it's this. Never mistake kindness for weakness. Never confuse silence with surrender. And never believe that a patient person has forgotten. Sometimes, they're simply waiting for the perfect moment to let the truth speak. Thank you for attending today's lesson at the School of Revenge, where every betrayal has a consequence. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and turn on notifications. A new lesson in betrayal, karma, and justice arrives every week. Until next class, choose your actions carefully, because someone is always taking notes.